Hi all, welcome back to Beer and Knowledge Hub. In this today's session, we'll talk about AIO HTTP library. So, what is the purpose of AIO HTTP library in Python and how it is going to be work? So, if you look at the Python, we have a different kind of frameworks like the full stack frameworks and microservice frameworks and asynchronous frameworks. We'll talk about more on these frameworks in the later sessions, but this AIO HTTP framework is relevant to asynchronous framework. That means the client server applications we can create using this AIO HTTP. This AIO HTTP is nothing but asynchronous input output HTTP request. That means you can develop both client and server applications using this particular library. So how we are going to use this particular AIO HTTP in the Python and how we are going to create a service. So far I just wanted to create a service, kind of REST service where I just want to create a get method and I just want to create a post method. Later on that, I just want to browse those methods, how it is going to be retrieved in the browser. Okay. So for this, what we need to do is we need to create the server application using a Visual Studio Code editor here. So in this editor, I'm just creating a new file called the REST service dot py. This is my new file here, and in this file, I'm just creating this backend service. So where I have a get method and similarly post method. I just want to use those in my front end application. Okay. So if you want to use this AIO HTTP library in Python, you need to install first. Okay. So it seems I already installed. I'm just checking the pip.list here. That way I can know that whether my library is being installed on this machine or not. Because this pip command will list all the installed applications and installed libraries on this machine. If you look at this list, so I have so many things, but it seems I don't have this AIO HTTP request. Yeah, I have it. So I have this AIO HTTP package on this machine because I already installed. So you need to get the Python 3.5 or later version if you want to work with this AIO HTTP library, because in the Python version 3.5 it is being added. In earlier versions we don't have this library, so to create the client and server applications. So if you're not having this library on your machine, you need to install using pip install this AIO HTTP so that it will install that library package onto your machine. Okay. Now, so far I have it. Now I'm going to directly write a program using this particular already installed library. So I'm just importing that library, but in that I need only web related things. That's why I'm just saying AIO HTTP import web. That means I'm just only importing web from the AIO HTTP library. So and then I'm just defining some functions, because as I told you, this AIO HTTP is nothing but asynchronous input output HTTP request. That means we should use async keyword here because it works with async and wait. Asynchronous is nothing but non-blocking methods, because when you are accessing any method which is marked with async, that method process will not block the other parallel request to the particular server. When you look at other programs which are not marked with async keyword, those method execution will block other requests which parallelly comes from different client to the same server. So that is what the main benefit of this asynchronous and synchronous methods. So now I'm just creating a method with this async keyword, async, and reddef handle of request. This is my method signature and just defining. And here I'm just going to create some JSON object here. So for that I need to import JSON as well. Import JSON. So I already have it. So now I'm just creating one object response obj that is equal to preparing some JSON object saying that this is get method I'm just creating very first time. Okay. So once I assign this JSON, I'm just returning web dot response of text equal to JSON dot dumps. That means it is dumping into JSON object response object. Okay. Also, I just fill this status as 200. Okay. This is my get function. Once you write this function, get function, so you just call using this aiohttp, but before that you need to instantiate. I'm just creating application and storing into app variable, and this particular app variable have the reference of web, and this using this variable I'm just adding get method add get, and this is my root path and specifying and binding this handle method to slash. That means this is my path which I'm going to browse on the browser. For this particular root path, I'm just binding this method handle because I created this method. And if you can say in it get method if you want. Okay. And you can assign this method here. So that way I'm just binding my root for the get method and then running this using web again web dot run app of my the app that way I'm going to run this particular method. So after you write this program, you just check for the syntax, and because this is purely indent oriented language where you should take care of all identity indents properly mentioned for the function or not. So once you write this, then you just run this Python. So it is going to run and show you the result on the this terminal here in the bottom section. I think it is taking a couple of time, it seems. So when you look at here, my program has been ran and it is showing this is the default address you need to browse. So I'm just opening my browser and browsing here. That means HTTP localhost 8080. Then you will see the get method output. So in my get method, I mentioned that status equal to success. Okay, so it was being executed and it has been returned this JSON object into my browser. That means my get method was being executed. Okay, so not only this one, you just use another traffic tool, Postman, or another fiddler or dev toolbar where you can specify your service and you can specify the method and you can send the request to the web server. Then it automatically, shows you the result. So now I'm using this Postman script tool. So where I can show you the how the get method and other things are working here. So HTTP localhost 8080, and if you send this request, then it will process your request and shows you the output here. I think so. It was not coming out because this been selected as post, but my method is get. You need to change this as get, and you again resend this request. Then you will see output as JSON. Okay, this is how the request has been sent to the server and process your get method. Like that, you just stop this thing and write for the post method and see how it is being processed. So again, declare async diff post method. I just want to create some new user passing request. So here I'm just building some try catch block. That way I will be anticipate exception and put on the things very clearly. So here again I'm using user variable user equal to request dot query of user, because I'm reading the username from the request. That is what the syntax request dot query of user. That means it is reading a user query parameter from the request and storing a user, and print and destroying a message, creating new user with the name user, so that I will be knowing like whether my given username is processed and coming into this post method or not. And creating an object again, response.object equal to creating a JSON object, status success, and another parameter I'm adding saying that user successfully created. Okay, now return the response using web response of text equal to json.dumps of response object. Okay, and this is status 200 because I'm in try block only. If at all, if it throws any error and comes to this particular exception block, what I'm going to say is I'm just again create variable with status error. That means response object equal to status failed. Okay, I'm just saying status failed, and also showing message SPR of E. Okay, and then return this using protocol web of text equal to JSON response, sorry, JSON.dumps of response obj. And here status is find because it comes into exception block. Okay, now my post method has been written here. Post method, this is my get method. Okay, so here I have been added get method, right? So I just move this block snippet into, and after this post method, and here before running of my app I'm adding a root for post method, like how I added for, if you look at here we have different methods: delete, get, head, options, patch, post, put, resource, root, roots. So whatever you want, you just add that root here. So here I just want to post method, you know, another method, like I just want to type user. So that is the name I'm going to give it. It's not mandatory, and whatever name you want, you just give it. There is no restriction. For this, I'm just binding new user method, which I've been mentioned here. Okay. So this is what the syntax of adding a post method to your aiohttp library web protocol. So this is my get method, this is my post method. I'm just passing a request object here, because post method is nothing but, you're just passing some parameter to the web server and you're expecting something response from the web server, right? Get method only fetching the data from web server. There is no query string parameter passing it to the URL. But when it comes to post method, so you have to pass some parameters through query string using an URL. That way we are passing query parameters. And using a request, I will get the parameter value here of query user, and it will retrieve the username. And that username, I'm going to use it for further purpose to create user into some different database, MySQL or SQL Server or Oracle something. That is a different job. Okay. Basically, my post method is hitting this particular post method or not. This is what my primary, the imposition here. So when it reaches this, the post method, then I'll be knowing that my post method is working as expected. Okay. Once you've done this, just run it same fashion, and it will says you that use this particular URL, and just to go to this here, run it. This is get method, because when I type here, by default it is executing get method. As I map or root for get method is a slash, but for user I have to specify user and I have to give some name here. Okay. When I say this here, it shows you 404 error, because post method will not execute on this particular browser. So what we have to use? We have to use this postman here. I'm just typing the same thing here. So 8080 user John, and just change this method to post method and sending a request. So once I send this request, it goes to server. It is saying it seems 404. We'll see what is the problem. What happened? This new user slash user. So application seems some problem. Slash user, new user, and request. And there is no problem, it seems. So accept exception something, nothing, no problem, any information. User. Okay, so we have to pass query string, that means the question mark and ampersand, we have to use it, right? So here I mentioned a name, right? User. This is what the query string parameter I'm expecting. So here also user method and user equal to John. This is what the right syntax. So till this is the method I'm going to call, and for this method I'm just passing a parameter, query string parameter, user name, query string parameter name, and passing value of John. Okay, if I run this, yeah, it created. So this has been created. Status success, message user successfully created. So you just look at all these things here. So however you want to see in pretty much raw preview, so any kind of output you can see it here, and you can see here status is 200. Okay, and if I say something like user one, this actually not mentioned in my program, it throws you 500 internal error. Okay, because I mentioned here variable name is user. If you specify other than user, it goes into this particular thing and it shows you the exception here. Okay, so this is how we are going to handle and execute the the AIO HTTP methods from server as well as client. So that way you can create whatever you want to create, a method which is fetching data from database or which is storing data into the database kind of thing, and you just map these URLs to your client application, and from the client you can call it these particular web APIs. So I hope you understand like the purpose of the aiohttp library, that means asynchronous library in the Python. So basically using for creating of asynchronous client and server HTTP request methods, and just taken some example of creating get and post methods from the server. Same this request and the routing endpoints, use it in the client application, and you just integrate this snippet, and you interact with these methods without the struggling problems with easy steps, and you implement the full stack process. Okay, so I hope you understand the demo of this creating get and post method using AIO HTTP, and we'll see more concepts on this Python in the next coming videos. Thank you.